All right, we have a tornado warning that's now in effect. This involves Van Buren County. There's the potential tornado. I think very high winds likely. This does include Clinton and will be crossing over Highway 65. So again, we have a tornado warning in effect for Van Buren County here. The Doppler radar now indicating a tornado. Doppler radar indicated this is not a confirmed tornado. Cleburne, Van Buren County, portions of Stone Pope, and this is until 11 o'clock. And it's located about 20 miles to the west of Clinton, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. So there's the tornado, the potential tornado. I don't think this is going to last long because of the way that this is oriented with this bow. But here we'll do a track moving towards the east at 40 miles per hour. So this area is also under a tornado watch. So Dabney about 10:17. Here we are at 10:14. Allred 10:25. Copeland 10:30. Botkenberg, I want you to take cover in Botkenberg 10:40, Clinton 10:44, and Shirley at about 10:56. So I want you to take your tornado precautions in those areas. This most likely, again, that's an intense area right there, a concentrated wind and high winds and a potential tornado. But I think there's going to be high winds over a large area raking across Van Buren County. So take cover. Interior of your home or your business, put as many walls between you and the outside, lowest level, and of course stay away from windows. I'm going to send it over to, boy, there's that strong circulation right there. There's Dabney. If you're in Dabney, take cover now in Allred and Rex. But there's Highway 16, so no-go and Lost Corner. That's significant rotation on the radar. There's Dabney, there's Copperhead Lane, and Hatley Mountain Road right there. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Joel Young for some follow-up information and a new radar scan. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, we're keeping a close watch on this storm here. I'm going to switch over here to Max in just 1 second. Make sure I have control of the right computer. There we go. All right, so that is a tornado warning storm. Again, want to remind you in Van Buren County as well as northeastern Pope County. That goes until 11 p.m. For Pope, Van Buren, southwestern sections of Stone County and northwestern sections of Cleburne County. That rotation is right now crossing over. It has just crossed over here into Van Buren County. It's moving out of there. I would stay in my safe place a little while longer if you live there in that northeastern part of the county. But right in here is the rotation that we're talking about, right over the Dabney area. Dabney Road, Copperhead Lane, it may have just passed you, but stay in your safe place there. Winding Road right here in far western, northwestern sections of Van Buren County. Brock Road in the path of this storm. So right there is where that rotation is, near Dabney. And right around Peach Road, Dabney Road, County Road 230, Winding Road, County Road 206, Aspen Road, Cherry Drive, lowest floor away from windows. You want to be in a lowest floor of a site-built home away from windows in a room that is surrounded by other rooms. So again, that's tracking toward the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So again, we'll put another track on that, moving at about 40 miles per hour. And it is looking like that circulation may stay just north of Clinton when it passes through. So Allred 1023, Copeland 1027, Crabtree at 1032, Botkenberg. It'll be moving over Highway 65 there in northern sections of Van Buren County at about 1038. Plant at 1043, Elba at 1046, Allberg at 1049, and Shirley at 1053. So again, that is a tornado warning storm there. And I will say, this is mostly damaging wind along this line, but right in here, you've got a little bit of spin there, but you also have some potential that maybe you have another spot that tries to develop somewhere along this line. Oftentimes, when you have a line of thunderstorms move through, your rotations, the pockets of rotation that develop along it don't sustain themselves as long, but sometimes another spot can take over. So again, right there, the main spot that we're looking at is near Dabney, working its way north and east. Todd, do you have a little more information?
Yeah, 35,000 across Arkansas now without electricity as these storms move across the state. As Joel's telling you, this is one area riding along the very leading edge of this. We'll have to watch for areas towards the south. But by far, it's damaging wind threats over a very large area. We're talking about winds that will equal that of a weak tornado over that very large area. This is a severe thunderstorm warning right there, and we're talking about this small area with a tornado warning. Now, if there's a tornado, I don't think we're looking at a large tornado, but definitely one that can do damage. Would probably be on the lower end of the EF scale, but we can't say that 100% sure. It's dark out there. We don't have any reports to. This is all Doppler radar indicated. Many of you watching us now from Botkenberg and those areas there in Van Buren County, Archie Valley, along Highway 16. I know you're a little nervous right now, but I want you to know this. We're in constant communication with everybody who would know, and emergency managers. No reports whatsoever of a tornado. So I'm just looking at the newest information, but that rotation continues, and so this tornado warning will continue due south of Highway 16. It just crossed over the Conway County line and went on over into Van Buren County. The Pope County line. I'm sorry, it's north. The Pope County line going into Van Buren County. So there it is, just to the south of Highway 16. I'm going to do a little bit of radar analysis here with you as we again track that. Moving to the east, I believe it was at 40 miles per hour, but we'll get in a little bit closer, and I want to check to see if we're missing anything in terms of debris. Do not see anything here that would show that there's debris being lofted into the atmosphere. And it's most likely blinded and covered up with extremely heavy rainfall. So it's going to be one of those situations where you would never see it coming. It's not one of those tornadoes that you see out in the plain states that the lightning lights up the sky. You can see it off in the distance. This is most likely wrapped up in rain, but the circulation is there. We'll see how long this lasts. Typically, these types of systems, these type of tornadoes on the leading edge of a line, they don't last that long. This is in effect until 11 o'clock, but they're still due south of Archie Valley, coming across Highway 16, and on that is a new scan. That's, yeah. Okay. So, and at its current track, there's Clinton. It will go just to the north of Clinton, along Highway 65. So if you're watching us from Clinton, you think, oh, okay, we're fine. No, you're not. Because no matter what, if the tornadic circulation is to your north, you're going to be hit by very high winds from this thunderstorm that are going to exceed 60 miles per hour. Again, there's 35,000 without electricity, and they're without electricity not because there was a tornado earlier in northwest Arkansas, there was, but there's damaging winds too over a large area. So charge electronic devices, not only in Van Buren County, south of Archie Valley, but for the entire central Arkansas area, because we're going to have severe thunderstorms in the area tonight and damaging winds. That's the primary threat. That newest scan of the radar, Joel, I don't see any weakening trend at all.
I don't.
There's still quite a bit of rotation. It's going to get awfully close to Allred, but probably pass just to the north of Allred and move up towards Copeland in Van Buren County. So Copeland, Highway 16, again, just go inside, stay away from windows, interior of your room of your home. There's Watson Road and Pumpkin Center Road. Anybody knows those locations in that community north of Allred and Highway 16, you're very familiar with the road network. If you know somebody there, give them a call, send them a text. Tell them to turn on the Arkansas Storm Team. We're on covering this for you, and they need to be in their safe place. So, Joel, do you have new information? I'm looking here with the National Weather Service, and there's no news in this situation. I guess is good news, in that we don't have anything confirmed right now.
That's true. I do want to show real quickly here. I've got velocity up. We've been pointing out this zone as the main area of rotation, and that is the one that prompted the tornado warning. And I don't necessarily think that we have other pockets of rotation along here, but you'll notice it's still very strong, damaging wind, and certainly, even though maybe this was the main rotation, there could be pockets that try to develop along that same line a little farther south. So for that reason, instead of tracking just the rotation, I'm going to track that entire leading edge of the storm, because that's at least where you're going to get damaging wind, and it's going to include Clinton in the path of this. Now, it's possible that the main area of rotation stays north of Clinton, but either way, this is a big area of strong damaging wind, and so I'm going to track the whole line of it, and along this line, there could be rotation that's capable of producing a tornado. Archie Valley, 1022, Copeland at 1030, Crabtree, 1032, Clinton at around 1041. So right in that time frame is expected to be where the storms peak along Highway 65, Plant 1045, Arlberg 1051, Shirley at 1054, Partain at 11 o'clock, and then Turkey Creek at about 11:06. So this whole line of damaging wind is going to keep working its way east. I do believe that at some point we will see the rotation fall. Well, it may not necessarily fall apart completely, but I don't think we're going to see sustained rotation with this, but we got to watch it. So again, right here is that area of rotation, right along Highway 16. There might be other spots of concern along that line, but again, right in there is where we have our strongest rotation. I'm going to zoom in a little closer here. Again, this has moved on from Dabney, but I would still save my safe place there just to be on the safe place. This appears to be right over Brock Road, and by the way, we have a brand new tornado warning that's been issued somewhere in our area, and we're going to have to look and see where this is. This is down here in northeastern Polk County. Brand new tornado warning just issued. I'll get the details on this, and we're going to be bouncing back and forth. This is a tornado warning for Polk County, P-O-L-K, not Pope, but Polk. That goes until 11:15. It also includes northern sections of Montgomery County, southwestern sections of Yell County. That storm is moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll get a new track on that one. That rotation is probably going to be taking it up closer to Pencil Bluff, more northwest of Mount Ida. Odin is in the path of that storm at 10:41, Pencil Bluff at 10:45, Sims at 10:48, Gibbs at 10:55, Washita at 11:02, and Alley at 11:09. So that is a new tornado warning there for northeastern Polk County. I'll zoom in a little closer so you can see where that rotation is. You can clearly see it there along Polk Road 70, Buck Knob Road, Road 76 there, east of County Road 378. So it's in that far northeastern corner of Polk County. Again, we're not saying Pope, we're saying Polk County now. There was a tornado warning in effect for Pope County. I do want to go back and address that storm up here into Van Buren County. Rotation's still strong with that. It's a little stronger, I would argue. If I were to go back a scan, that's what it looked like a little while ago. That is still some sustained rotation. And I want to look here at debris mode and see if we have any evidence of anything on the ground with that. I don't see that. But I certainly see that rotation, if anything, is strengthened a little bit. I want to get a new track on that, and then, Todd, we can go to you and see if you have any new information.
Yeah.
But, again, that rotation there is along Highway 16 near Copeland. Copeland, it's moving into your area right now. Botkenberg would be next at 10:37, so about 10 minutes. And then Plant, 10:43, Old Lexington, Allberg, Shirley, Fox, and Sandiff, Todd.
All right, yeah, that rotation continues. I've also got a live look here. This is going to be probably just south of the area, but this is north of Clinton up there on 65. You see the lightning lighting up the sky, but this is just ahead of it. But we got some cameras that we're going to be watching very carefully as this moves through it. But it's going to be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, I'm afraid. And hopefully there is no tornado. But that, again, we have 2 tornado warnings in effect. I still say that the overwhelming threat for most of you will be damaging winds. There's just these small areas of rotation that are going, that typically do not last all that long. And this is almost, when we went on the air here with this tornado warning, it was just coming in to Van Buren County, and now it's almost into central Van Buren County. They are moving very quickly, and it's still putting out some very strong rotation along Highway 16. So we got 2 tornado warnings that are in effect, as Joel's been telling you. That one, and also the one down here in southwest Arkansas, moving into western Arkansas and into the Yell County area. So it's not for all of Yell County. This is just for the southern portion of Yell County. But let's look at this rotation very quickly. North of Mount Ida, there it is. There's the rotation, moving towards the east-northeast now, crossing over 270. It's in a very rural area, but I know we got viewers. But the rotation, Joel, on that southern storm is not as strong, in my opinion, as the one on the northern one.
I would absolutely agree with that
Yeah.
there, Todd. I think that this one up here in Van Buren is a little bit stronger and has sustained itself more so than I believe we, would have expected some of these to. The long track nature of the tornado risk was more into Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. Now, as it's getting into central or north central Arkansas, I think the tornado risk, these should weaken a little quicker than the ones farther west, but this has maintained itself a little better than maybe I would have thought. So again, that rotation in Van Buren County has prompted that tornado warning. I want to remind you that tornado warning there goes until 11 o'clock for Van Buren, southwestern Stone, northwestern Cleburne County. That rotation there is going to be crossing over Highway 65 somewhere north of Clinton, and it should be probably near the Botkenberg area most likely. So again, to put a track on that, Copeland, basically right now moving over Copeland, Botkenberg there at about 10:39. Plant, that's in northern Van Buren County here, at about 10:45. I think most of that should stay south of Elba, but then Alburg a little bit farther down the road, Shirley, Fox, and Sandiff. And I want to go back, we'll look at the rain mode of this. I want to zoom out. All of this, as Todd was mentioning, has damaging wind risk written all over it, but it's a little bit of that rotation there that has developed along the leading edge. And I want to go back down here and make sure that we're still seeing weaker rotation with this storm coming out of Polk County with a K. That rotation is right there. It is right where Scott, Montgomery, and Polk counties come together. And so it'd be crossing over Highway 270 here, probably north and west of Pencil Bluff near the Scott County line, Todd.
Okay, so that one, I look at the radar, and we got a new scan here on Max 1 that just came in, and I think it's even stronger, which is not what you would expect in this sort of situation. You would not expect these to intensify like this, but it is. They typically spin up very quickly and go back down very quickly, but that's not the case. So let's hope this doesn't get any worse, but it's about to cross over Highway 65. And with that in mind, Clinton, nobody should be going north on 65 right now. And if you're watching us from Botkenberg, I know Blaze Thomas up there and his family, take your tornado precautions immediately. I don't like what I see on the radar. That's just to the southeast of Copeland, and it's heading up towards Botkenberg and 110. This is significant rotation. According to what we always study in meteorology, when these type of tornadoes, they're not your typical supercell tornadoes and thunderstorms. They typically don't last very long. So we would expect this to start to decrease, but it has not done so just yet. But it is very strong on radar. Even if there's not a tornado, there are winds that could equal 60 miles per hour or 70 miles per hour or even more. And it's coming into Botkenberg in moments. So Atkins Creek Road and Sawmill Road, right here, that's where the circulation is located. And there's Big Rock Road and Highway 16 that it has just passed. Can't sound the all clear officially for that area, but it looks like the worst of it has passed you by. And it's moving so quickly, Botkenberg, and along Highway 65, it's moving so rapidly, you don't have much time to take those tornado precautions. You only have a few minutes. It'll come through quickly and out quickly. And when it crosses over Highway 65, we'll know if it put down a tornado or not, just because it will be moving over a more populated area. But I want you to take your tornado precautions. Let's hope that this is suspended aloft and doesn't do anything but just some gusty winds. But that does not look good on the radar. And we're going to go back down to Polk County in just a second, but this by far is the most intense circulation, and in my opinion, it is the most dangerous one that we've got in the entire area. High winds, a big threat for central and northern Arkansas. Let's look at the debris detector, and I don't see anything on debris right now. I know you see this spot right here, but that's not co-located with where we're seeing the rotation, which is up in here. High winds, absolutely. Tornado, question mark right now. It's a Doppler radar indicated tornado. There's no confirmation this is on the ground. And let's see if I got any new information. Joel, I don't have anything new. And let me check the power outages in that area, because a lot of times, okay, so Van Buren County is still reporting no power outages, but that number can lag a little while. But so far, 0 power outages there, 35,000 plus across the state. Joe, I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on that southern circulation. While I keep an eye on that northern one. Again, go back to this while he gets on that one. So that's 110. There's Highway 65 in Botkenberg. It is just past Copeland. Waiting for a new scan. Should be in any moment. A new scan will tell us, obviously, a lot more. but it is not weakening coming across there, and it's going to go north of that camera that I showed you just a second ago, north, which is located down here. There's Clinton. That camera is just to the north of Clinton, so we're not going to be able to see anything with that. Archie Valley now in the clear from this. That tornado is going to cross over 65, I'd say within the next 5 minutes. It'll cross over Highway 65, get back in a little bit closer and get ahead of the storm and name some of the roads and the communities out ahead of it that may be impacted by it. And you see Atkins Creek Road and Libby Lane. Let's go over to meteorologist Joel Young, again tracking that storm in southwest Arkansas moving into Montgomery County.
Well, some good news. I don't feel like the area of rotation that prompted the tornado warning, I don't think that rotation is held together very well. I think it's trying to kind of phase itself. There might be other pockets of rotation there in that same area, so it's hard to say. Is this the rotation? Is this the rotation up in here? Either way, there's a lot of damaging wind potential in that storm there that's rolling through parts of northwestern Montgomery County, southeastern Scott County, approaching southwestern Yell County. So I am going to still track this storm, but I'm going to track the leading edge of the storm because we have a line of damaging wind with pockets of rotation that may occasionally try to form along the leading edge. So if there's a tornado, it would be along the leading edge of the storm. So it's moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll get a track on the whole leading edge of that storm as it works its way north and east toward Washita, I believe that's probably how you pronounce that. But Pencil Bluff 1042, Sims at 1046, Chula at 1054, Washita at 11, Alley at 1101, Fanny at 1107, Steve 1114, and Mount Tabor at 1117, Todd.
New scan just came in, by the way, Joel, and
it's a little weaker.
It's weaker, yeah. So that's excellent news. There's still a tornado warning in effect, but it does show weakening here moving across Highway 65, which is what we would expect. But Botkenberg, stay sheltered. This is weaker. It's just one scan. I guess it could ramp up again, but typically they don't. But they're going to hold on to this tornado warning until they're absolutely sure that it's over. So rest assured, we're watching this street by street for you in Van Buren County, in and around Botkenberg. We see high winds, but what we see now is the lack of what we call a couplet, where you have the bright greens and the bright reds together, just close next to each other, which we were just showing you. I'll back that up and you can see it. Watch this. That's at 1027, 1029. You see, there it is. There's the couplet. And then you get the next scan, falls apart. That's at 1033. It's 1035 now. We'll get another scan in just a little bit. They'll hold on to that tornado warning, but that's some good news, at least, that we can report to you now, is that may have reached its max intensity and could be coming down. I use that word could because we want to be cautiously optimistic. Again, high winds over a very large area, Conway County all the way up toward the north, severe thunderstorm warning. And as Joel's keeping track of that one storm in western Arkansas that is tornado warned, but I want to keep track of that one, and I'm going to send it back to Joel here so he can track that southern storm. But I just wanted to let you know that northern storm shows signs of weakening. Let's hope that trend continues. Well,
we love to hear that there. So again, just to recap, the counties that are under a tornado warning here associated with the southernmost tornado warning, Polk, P-O-L-K, has been removed from that tornado warning. So has Scott County. So we have Yell and Montgomery counties under that tornado warning. And the area of rotation with it, I think it may be northwest of Pencil Bluff right here. It does not look as tight. It looks fairly broad, but still some damaging wind potential here in the northwestern corner of Montgomery County. So I'm going to kind of zoom in a little closer. This is going to be north and west of where Highway 88 and 270 intersect. We want you in your lowest floor away from windows along Blowout Mountain Road, Road 278, Sims Loop Road. Damaging wind at the very least will be possible with this storm as it works its way across northern sections of Montgomery County, but you can still get pockets of rotation. And, you know, I could look at this and see other spots that might be a little bit concerning here. I wouldn't, it's really tough to say. This is a big mess. I don't see, you know, there may be a pocket of rotation in there, but I feel like there's not one that stands out over the other. There are other little areas here that may be trying to rotate, but not anything that jumps out at me as being something that would hold itself together. That's, again, with that tornado-warned storm in northern Montgomery County and southwestern Yell County right now. Yeah, definitely some damaging wind potential. Could be maybe a brief tornado that tries to touch down north of Pencil Bluff here, between Pencil Bluff and the Scott County line. That would take it there through the northern section of the county there, through the Ouachita Mountains. So, again, this is a line of damaging wind with some potential that a brief tornado has tried to develop there in northern sections of Montgomery County. But I just, right now, I don't see it being anywhere near as strong as the rotation that was once up here into Van Buren County. And I'm going to jump up here real quickly. And I know, Todd, you're watching this one as well. Still looks stronger than the storm down in Montgomery County, but the rotation does not look as concentrated. And it does look like it's mostly crossed over Highway 65 there, Todd. So
yeah.
I believe that should continue to weaken, but still something worth watching. I'll continue to watch the storm down in Montgomery County, Todd.
Yeah, just looking at this, I zoomed in. There's Old Bockenberg and Bockenberg, so it's now east of 65. And I just sent a text message to my friend Blaze Thomas, who has family in that area, and I haven't heard anything back, which I guess, again, as I said earlier, no news is good news. There's also Holly Mountain Road, Sally Flat, and Alburg, Emery Road, Plant. It's right over Euler Road as I'm tracking it now, but going over Holly Mountain Road within the next few seconds, and Gore Mountain up there. Also reports now of trees down in Russellville on Skyline Drive. So that's from a severe thunderstorm, not a tornado. You see, I mean, these severe thunderstorms tonight can do just as much damage as a weak tornado, but the rotation continues. It's not as strong as it was, but it's still there. And it's going to be passing over Ruby Drive, Highway 110, Mulberry Lane, and there's Arlborg right there. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Euler Road, we'll get a new scan here in just a second, but it is now east of Highway 65 in Van Buren County, moving towards the north, the east-northeast. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay, I just wanted to point out to you, Todd, here, with this storm, especially up here in Van Buren County, I think what we're looking at, and we've talked about this with several tornado-warned storms in the past, this looks more like a northern bookend vortex. I think what we're seeing is that the line of storms south of where that rotation was, so they're basically along 65 south of Bockenberg through Clinton, back towards Center Ridge, it's bowing forward a little farther out. And this part right here is being held back. And so sometimes you can get it to kind of circulate back. And while it has weakened, with it being in this kind of position where it's a northern bookend vortex, it may try to pull itself back together. So we're going to have to watch that spot. I will also point out, and this is kind of also in line, Todd, with something that was mentioned in the Weather Service chat, that storms right now, based off of lower wind shear, basically, the 0 to 3 kilometer wind shear, wind vectors, basically the way they're positioned right now, storms that have a north-south orientation, like this one near Clinton and this one here east of Mena, would be more capable of producing a brief spin-up tornado, perhaps. So I'm going to go back down here really quickly because I want to make sure we're not leaving anybody in the dark here. But Todd, I kind of wonder if this storm in Montgomery County might be strengthening a little bit, at least in terms of damaging wind. I can't say for sure that this is rotation or I mean, we've had rotation in this area multiple times, but maybe a little closer to Pencil Bluff there.
Yeah. I could tell you now, just on the storm that I'm tracking up here east of Highway 65 north of Clinton, it has neither weakened or strengthened. There's still rotation, and it's right there. We're waiting a new scan. Nothing has really changed with that. It's not as strong as it was earlier, but it's still tornado warned. Hopefully we're still seeing a weakening trend, but there's no news on this except high winds for sure east of Bockenberg and Old Bockenberg, moving towards the northeast. And again, trees down in Russellville, and more than 35,000 across the entire state without electricity. So this is getting ready to move into the far northeastern corner of Van Buren County. So that tornado warning continues. This one is until 11 o'clock, and the one you're tracking, Joel, is until 11 15, I believe. And you got some new information, Joel?
Yeah, just want to quickly update you. The tornado watch that was in effect earlier has been expanded a bit farther east. It still goes until 2 a.m., but it now includes areas more east of Highway 65. So they went ahead and added White, Independence, Jackson, Woodruff County. The Metro not included in that. Conway is. We're going to probably see them. They're going to look at these storms that are back here into southwestern Arkansas, and they're going to make a call at some point as to whether they want to expand that watch over to the Metro. At this point, I think they're trying to hold off on that as long as they possibly can. But that storm there, let's zoom in a little closer, check on the status of this storm in Montgomery County. It may still, in fact, I would argue maybe a couple of areas of rotation that may be trying to form there. North and east of Pencil Bluff along Arkansas Highway 88, and another spot out here in the northern section of the county there. I'll zoom in a little closer, get some specific street names. We're talking about FS Road D91A, Washita Trail, FS Road 593, Sims Loop Road, and then FS Road 608. So kind of in that same area, we got pockets of what appears to be some rotation there. And Todd, believe you're still tracking that storm up there in Van Buren County. What's it looking like?
Yeah, so I just heard from Blaze and his family. They just lost power, very high winds, and everyone is safe, but they just lost power in Botkenberg. So something has gone through there. Whether it was high winds from a severe thunderstorm or tornado, we don't know yet, but there's still the rotation. We just got a new scan. It's going up there towards Stone County. Not as strong, but still tornado warned. But it's there. You see quite a bit of inflow into that. If there's a tornado, it's now just east of Botkenberg, going through far northern, the northern tip of Van Buren County up towards Stone County. It'll be near Arborg and Rushing and going north of Shirley. So while the circulation, this is one of those things in a tornado situation like this, where we're so focused and laser focused on this small area, we don't want to ignore what's feeding into it and the high winds associated with that. And you see this enormous amount of inflow. So Shirley, while you're not going to get the circulation is going to your north, you may still get winds in excess of 50 or 60 miles an hour. So prepare for power outages there, even though we're so hyper-focused on that area. Let's not let down our guard and lose sight on areas further towards the south and along Highway 9 as that pushes a bunch of air towards the east and moves over there and eventually moving over there into far northern Cleburne County. But there's still obviously just a little twist. You see that little kink in the line right there. So I'm sure they're going to cut off that tornado warning polygon west of Highway 65 in just a little bit, but it extends south of Mountain View. So this is south of Mountain View, and I hope that's not another area that's developing. That just caught my eye.
Where are you looking right now?
Just to the north up there in Stone County.
I see what you mean. I don't
think that's
what
where, yeah,
that
I don't
is.
think. Yeah, I doubt that too, Joel, since that's where that wind goes that way. But anyway, this is where the rotation is. We'll wait a new scan until 11 o'clock. So this tornado warning is in effect for another 14 minutes. We'll see if they issue a downstream warning. No reports at this time of damage, but you got to wonder because the power is out in Botkenberg. Could it be winds, even a lightning strike? We just don't know, and we have to assume that there's some damage. And for everybody downstream from this circulation, just to let you know that it does have high winds. He said strong winds. You need to prepare for that. Joel, you're tracking that southern storm. Do you have any new information?
Good news on that one. The tornado warning has been dropped for Montgomery and Yell County. It became more southwest northeast oriented and it lost its rotation. Still has good wind on that, so we're going to continue to track that as it works its way. When we say good wind, strong wind. Of course, all signs here, though, pointing towards strong damaging wind. That can still produce tornado-like damage, so we want you to stay inside your house, away from windows, but thankfully, this is kind of taking on more of a damaging wind look than a tornado risk. But hey, and I say thankfully, but I would be much more thankful if it wasn't showing any sign of damaging wind. So these are all storms that still are worth watching, but especially, though, this storm that Todd's been tracking. And Todd, this fold in the line, you've had this kind of rotation along that line there, and it has sustained itself. Even when it wasn't tight rotation, you've got some sort of little inflow notch there that is tried to hold itself together, and I think it's still in a position where it could try to tighten up again, Todd.
Yeah, we were talking about Holly Mountain Road a little while ago, and that's where it's located at this time. Dodd Mountain Road is another one. I've been through this area before, and it is, as you would see by the street names, very mountainous. Very curvy roads out there, and it would be hard to see anything if you were to look at there. Plus, there's it's night and it's blinded in rain. So if you were to see it, there's the new update there. Still a circulation east of Dodd Mountain Road, Lute Mountain Road, River Road, Shirley way down here, getting high winds in Shirley, maybe knocking out power here momentarily. Very important to kind of not get too focused on one small area. It's definitely going over 110. Whatever is left of that circulation is going over Highway 110, and will be going over Highway 9 probably in about 5 minutes or less. It's moving so quickly. What's the rate of speed on that? Is it 40,
it's
45?
40. The one moving through Van Buren County, 40 miles per hour. And by the way, I've got a new track on this.
Oh, good. I was just getting
ready. I mean, go on and do that. That's fine.
It's usually you doing the tracks. But,
it's fine.
But there's only a couple communities here. I know there's more than this, but if you know of any of these communities here, 1103 Brewer, and that's after the tornado warning is that's outside.
Well, and it's getting to a point that it's almost outside the polygon. So that would mean that the Weather Service would have to decide: are they going to issue a new warning, or are they going to drop the one that's in place right now? I did go ahead and you tracked the rotation just now. I went ahead and just tracked the whole line at 40 miles per hour because, again, at times you get separate pockets of rotation that try to form, but damaging wind, this is more damaging, or at the moment what I'm tracking is the whole line, which is where damaging wind is. Fairfield Bay, Edgemont from 1052 to 1059, 1101 Brewer, 1106 Luber, 1109 Woodrow, Ben at 1121, Marcella at 1123, and Concord at about 1129. So again, that's the line of damaging wind. And along that line, every now and then you get a little pocket of rotation. But Todd, is that a new scan that I've gotten? And it looks weaker. Yeah,
you look up and down this line. Here's the other thing I've noticed. When you look up and down this line, I can't pinpoint anywhere on there that I would say, oh, right there. Yes, that's because that's where the original tornado warning was issued. So what's left of that? But I mean, look down here. A little bit further towards the south. You got to keep in mind what's going on up and down this line. But it's still there, but definitely not as pronounced as it was. You see this whole area in bright orange? It's very high winds and air pushing out of this. We've been showing the velocity mode. Let's show the rain mode, the reflectivity. And it's sort of bowing out in that area. So what you're going to get is a push of extreme winds. And that's also going to make the storm move very quickly into Van Buren County, across Greers Ferry Lake. And when that wind goes across Greers Ferry Lake, that's a frictionless surface, a smooth surface. So the wind, as it moves from west to east, will actually accelerate across that smooth lake surface, and downstream, any boat docks or anything like that, it's very easy for things to flip over. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Also, let's also look at this. This just caught my eye too. Another bow feature where we're not looking at just a small little area of circulation and high winds, with the tornado, but you're looking at a large area where winds in excess of 60 miles per hour possible, moving towards the east through portions of Yell County and eventually to Perry County, Montgomery County, northern Garland County, Lake Ouachita, especially just to the north of Lake Ouachita. So that's a severe thunderstorm warning. As Joel was telling you, that circulation is no longer producing, it's not there, the circulation, and a no tornado warning is in effect. But let's get back into this storm here, because it's about to leave the polygon. It's 10:52 now. The warning is over at 11 o'clock. Do they issue a new warning? Checking with our friends at the National Weather Service office, there's no indication just yet, so no decision has been made. Joel, if there's any circulation on this, it's due north of Shirley, coming up, going right up there to the north there of far northern Cleveland County. There's River Road, it's just Shady Grove Road, Highway 110, that's where it's crossing over right now. And Shirley is getting high winds, by the way. What you see down here, Shirley, it's passing just to your north by about 2 or 3 miles as the way the crow flies up towards the north and going over River Road. So did they just replace that? I
So
think they did.
I don't. Yes,
They did.
I think what they're planning on doing is letting that be a severe thunderstorm warning that may have a tornado possible tag on it. I'm going to have to double check, but most likely it does. And again, the tornado watch continues. Yeah, they have a tornado possible tag on that. But something else I want to point out, and you pointed out the storms that are moving through Yell County. What we're seeing right now are that storms that are oriented from north to south, not southwest to northeast. You see how this is more southwest to northeast, but right in here, the apex of the bow that's approaching Rover in Yell County, I would watch that area right now for certainly damaging wind. All along this whole line, there's possibly damaging wind. But right in here, and I believe that's specifically what this other yellow polygon is saying. I bet money if I were to click on that, it's probably got a tornado possible tag on it.
I'll check for you.
Okay.
I'll check.
It may not.
Are you talking about the one? Okay, you're talking about the one in Southern
I think it's the one polygon here. You know, they've got this whole big one here, but then there's one here that seems to be more focused on the part of the line that's kind of jutting outward there. And since that has a north-south orientation, I would say there's some possibility that something tries to spin up maybe in Yell County.
Yeah, nothing in the statement, Joel, that says that there's a tornado tag. What we're talking about, you'll hear us say, and I love this way that the National Weather Service does this, is that they'll say, okay, severe thunderstorm warning, and then they'll put it on the warning text. That's why it's so important to read it, tornado possible, meaning that this has the potential to become a tornado warning very quickly, and that it has the potential to spin, and there's some circulation, but it's just not enough to warrant a tornado warning. That's what he's saying, and that's further towards the south. I just asked if they're just going to let that expire, and I've got a feeling that they're going to.
They did write you back.
They're canceling it. Okay.
They canceled it, and they put a tornado, as we were just mentioning, a tornado possible tag.
Yeah. So that includes Heber Springs. It's moving so fast that this includes portions of Batesville. Joel, think about that for a second. I'm going
to get a track on it so it'll include Batesville, so you know when it's going to affect that
so
area.
Joel's going to get a track on that in just a sec. But think about this when we went on the air during the 10 p.m. news on KARK. This was way out towards the west, Conway County going into, or Pope County going into Van Buren County. This moving so quickly across Arkansas. So Heber Springs, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. And I'm even willing to say that you'll have tornado-like winds. A lot of people say, a lot of trees are down. It was a tornado. No, what you've got here, most likely a lot of wind pushing from the west to the east at 60 miles per hour or greater, and the trees will bend in one direction, and some of them unfortunately can break. So that's why we urge you to take the severe thunderstorm warnings just as seriously as you would a tornado warning tonight. Because of the large area of high winds, we just want to keep everybody safe. Get through these events. It's been such a horrible spring. We just want to make sure everybody gets through, and the only thing that happens is some damage, and we can fix that, but we want to make sure that you stay safe. Joel with the track. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, so what I did, I went ahead and put a track on this line of storms, and I advanced it all the way over into Independence County so you can get an idea of Batesville when that arrives. So Greers Ferry, 1101. So in the next few minutes, Brewer 1103, Heber Springs at 1115, Marcella at 1124, Wilburn at 1126, Bethesda 1132, Batesville. All right, so just a little bit before midnight, we're talking about 1144, 1145, somewhere in that window. Gainsboro 1152, Newark at 1157, and then a little past midnight for Dota, way out here into the Delta. So this line here moving a little faster than the rest of the line, and with that, some damaging wind potential that in some cases you can get damaging winds that produce tornado-like damage. So it's not to say that this is no longer a dangerous storm, but certainly looking more like damaging wind. The leading edge of that line, literally, by the way, is right on the Van Buren-Cleburne County line. So it's crossing now over into Cleburne County. It's coming out of Van Buren County into Cleburne. We've got some of that, of course, in Stone County as well. So monitoring it closely, but looking here at velocity. And by the way, they still have that tornado warning that's there.
We're not going to break away till it's gone.
I just wanted to note that. But there is still this little area that's still trying to show some rotation there. So I'm going to put a track on just that, just to get ahead of it. Again, What's that?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to get a quick track on that at 45 miles per hour. That individual area of rotation, which by the way would probably take it right across the northern section of Cleburne County. Woodrow 1106, Ben at 1117, Concord 1123, Almond 1127, Bethesda at 1131. And then from there, the Quarry at 1133, McHugh, and Batesville from 1138 to 1140.
All right.
So that was just tracking that, an individual pocket of rotation that we've been tracking there since it's been back in Pope County earlier. And I'm going to go a little farther south and revisit these storms down here in Montgomery, Yell County. That Yell County storm looks to be a little bit more southwest northeast oriented now. So maybe a little less likely to produce a tornado, but certainly a lot of damaging wind potential there through Yell and Montgomery counties at the moment, Todd.
Yeah, here's what's left over of that circulation. I mean, it's very little. Partain, not quite sure if that's how I pronounce that, sorry. Brewer up here, Greer's Ferry, the town, getting hammered with high winds. Just checked 93 without electricity in Van Buren County, which is significant if you're one of the 93, but I would think that it may be a little bit greater than that, and it's not. So just to let you know, I looked at that, and the number across the state still holding at 35,000 across the state, a little bit more than 35,000 across Arkansas without electricity. All right, so for the metro, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth with this in just a second, but for the metro, all right, you've got this line of thunderstorms moving towards the east. At the same time, I got to show this to Joel too, because this is, meteorological fascination here. There's a little outflow boundary from these storms to the north, from Conway, and it's draped from west to east. So you see that coming down and how that interacts with this coming across. That'll be interesting to see how those two interact. But this is what's heading towards the metro, coming up on 11 o'clock now in the evening. I would expect it in the Little Rock metro area within the next hour or two.
Let me get a track on that to get Little Rock in that.
Yeah.
So we can get a little ETA on that now that it's getting a little closer. I'll update you on that here. So it's moving to the east right now at about 55 miles per hour. So let me update that. So at 55 miles per hour, we're going to track that whole line toward the metro. Well, let me actually try another way of doing that.
Go ahead and take Joel full, guys.
Yeah, so 50 miles per hour, tracking that line there from Briggsville all the way back down here through Montgomery County. As it moves east, we're looking at ETAs for Mountain Pine 1131, Hot Springs 1144, Ola and Greenwood before that. Glenwood, I'm sorry. Bismarck at 1150, Conway at 1204, Benton at 1215, Little Rock just before 1230 is the timing that we're looking at right now. Jacksonville 1236 and Lone Oak at 1254. I mean, I think we've obviously seen our fair share of severe thunderstorms so far this season, but here we go again. A potential damaging windstorm here that's approaching the metro here as we approach the midnight hour here. So we're going to be watching this here very closely throughout the night. But once again, this is approaching the metro, and we're going to have to see, as Todd mentioned, there is an outflow boundary that is set up here that is we've just noticed. I'm going to pause the radar, and I've got an arrow here. I can just point it out right here. There's that outflow boundary that's situated from right around Conway back here into northern Saline County here through the Ouachitas. Sometimes what happens is when these storms interact with an outflow boundary, you can get a little bit of spin that develops right along that boundary. It's almost like a zipper, and I don't necessarily think that this is capable of doing the same thing we've seen some other storms do in the past, along a boundary, but it may at least cause some brief intensification of that storm as it kind of rides that boundary, and so something we're going to have to watch there. But again, severe thunderstorm warning continues there for southern Yell, southwestern Perry, western sections of Garland County, western Hot Spring County, including the Bismarck area, northwestern Clark County is included in that, as well as northern Pike and all of Montgomery County. So there's that one large warning, and then you have another, that one up into Cleburne, Cleburne, Independence, and southeastern Stone. And by the way, I think a very small part of northern White County included in that, Todd.
That still has a little bit of a kink in that line that I'm a little weary of heading up towards Batesville. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I was getting ready to do the weather on KRK4 News at 10, and we had this tornado warning issued, and so we broke away with that. And I know you're watching us here on Fox 16, our sister station. The Arkansas Storm Team has been activated. We're going to continue coverage, but the one thing I didn't get a chance to do was give you the forecast. And since there are no tornado warnings at this moment, and if there is a tornado warning, you'll see it, we'll say new tornado warning right there. Since there isn't a tornado warning at this moment, I'm going to go through the forecast for you, and then we're going to go back to the coverage and talk more about central Arkansas, because we're going to get hit by high winds in central Arkansas. This is a tornado watch. It's in effect until 2 a.m. for all these counties that you see in yellow. In the other areas, those other areas, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. All right, so this is what the radar looks like right now. Let me just move this over. There is still a little bit of a kink right in here that I'm concerned about as it moves towards northern Cleburne County into Independence County. There it is right there. Not tornado warned, but this severe thunderstorm warning has what's called the tornado tag to it, meaning they're still watching that for the potential for rotation. The other problem is this coming out of western Arkansas. Yell County, this is, as our friend Scott, I got to have t-shirts made with this, big bag of wind. I'm not trying to make light of it, but that's exactly what this is. It's a wind machine that is coming across Yell County, moving into Perry County, also just south of Russellville, Dardanelle, Danville, over towards Pettaging, Morrilton, Menifee, Plumerville, towards the south. This whole area is under a severe thunderstorm warning, not for hail, but for extreme winds. Flooding rainfall, also a possibility tonight across northern Arkansas. I want to show you forecast track at 12:30. Not doing a great job, not a bad job, but you see northern Arkansas with the rain and thunderstorms. By 3 o'clock, we'll see more moving across the state. And tomorrow, there's another threat for severe thunderstorms. This is not what I wanted to do, but let me get back in here for you and show you again the forecast track as this moves across 4 o'clock in the morning. It moves into eastern Arkansas at 6 a.m. And then there's another threat tomorrow, all right, in the afternoon in eastern Arkansas. It's a low threat. I think storms initiate in eastern Arkansas, then they ramp up once they reach the Mississippi River eastward. So that's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of these could be severe, and then it's done, and we're dry. Here are the threats going forward for the rest of tonight: medium to high severe wind threat, flash flood warnings, and a watch is in effect. The reward is just down the road. It's going to be cool, dry with low humidity, and overnight lows are going to be dropping significantly. Let's go quick to the Memorial Day weekend. We have a west-northwest flow, which gets underway this weekend, unfortunately, which is cool air to the north, warm, humid air towards the south, and disturbances coming across that northwest flow. So starting this weekend, we're going to have several disturbances, and from time to time, we will have thunderstorms and rain. Not a washout, but just like last weekend, 30% chance on Saturday, 40% Sunday, and 40% on Monday. So the forecast for the remainder of tonight, we're going to continue our coverage here in just a second. But 69 degrees, 6 on the Crane Automotive impact number, thunderstorms, and some of those will be severe, 87 tomorrow. Morning storms, and then eastern Arkansas, breezy all day, 87 degrees, 86 by Wednesday, Thursday, 81. Comfortable air, overnight lows comfortable. 20% chance on Friday, but this weekend, Saturday, and especially Sunday and Monday, we're going to have those chances for showers and thunderstorms. All right, so I just wanted to give you that information because I know some of you are saying, okay, you did all this severe weather coverage. Let's see the forecast. Well, there it is for you. We're going to continue to monitor this in several different ways. First of all, of course, here with the Arkansas Storm Team, KARK and Fox 16. We're here for you. Joel, do you have any new information you want to share before we go back?
I think no news is good news from over here.
Okay. So here's my plan, which Mother Nature doesn't care about my plan. She always throws a wrench in it. Our plan right now is we're going to get off the air, but we're going to also do some live streaming on KARK.com, Fox16.com. Also download this tool for your smart TV. The KARK Fox 16 Plus Smart TV app. You can scan that code, download the Arkansas Storm Team app as well. So get that on your phone or on your smart TV. And we're going to be doing some live streaming, tracking this for you as it moves into the metro. If this is still producing severe winds, moving into central Arkansas into the Little Rock metro area, we'll probably just interrupt programming and let you know what's going on. But that's if it's continuing to produce severe winds. Anything else, Joel? Am I missing anything?
No, I think we're in good shape at the moment. I mean, certainly some damaging wind potential out there.
Yeah.
If you're in one of these severe thunderstorm warnings, stay inside, away from windows. But again, be safe. We're going to be here watching it for you. If there's anything in terms of tornadic weather, of course, we'll break in.
All right. Thanks, Joel. Thanks to everybody, and thank you for making us your choice for severe, the #1 choice for severe weather information. Thanks for your trust, and we'll be here all night long for you.
This was severe weather coverage from the Arkansas Storm Team.